Hey, join us right now. We're at the Virginia Horse Festival.
I don't want to attack him. I want to get along with him, but I also want to be his leader. So as I'm moving this horse back and taking him and hooking his nose, you see what I'm doing? I'm not dragging him around. Okay, this happened very quick the other day, right? 10 minutes he was doing this. And you guys can do this too. And that's why I'm here. If you go to my booth, you'll see my big banner that says Sonny Gargiulo Natural Horsemanship, just believe. And it's not just, hey, believe in my horsemanship. It's believe that you guys can do this. Don't let all these big trainers, Sonny Gargiulo, make you believe you can't do this. You can. So now I got Copper working here, right? So now I know I got to get to the trailer. So back to this bridle. If I thought I needed the bridle, if he was rearing up or really getting, fresh on me, I put the bridle on. Because why? Because if I had to, I could get him soft in the bridle a bit, get his head soft, start to relax his jaw, start to relax his neck. I'd also have better control of him. If he went to rear up, I'd lock him up. I'd lock that bit on. As he went up, he'd run into the bit. I have a full cheek snaffle on there. After he ran into that snaffle 3 or 4 times trying to go up, he would stop. Because that's not the answer. He wouldn't get it. Oh, that works. That really works. It doesn't work because I'm not allowing you to go up. So he'll go to something else maybe. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the horse out here. Okay? I'm going to teach him the things I need at that trail.
Morning chores are adding up. All right.
Show jumping.
2-star jumping show. So, 500. Yep, 500 entries. Same thing here. 500. You're going to show cupcake. Show that. You're doing one. You want to try it? Cupcake was really bad last time, so I tried it.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Go with cough.
Yeah. All right. $5,000 from the bank. So the first is up to $6,000. Good job. Oh, yeah. She's got him well trained.
Come on, Hawk.
All right, so that one's for you. Swipe the money. Must have been cross country. So I'm Kesha, and this is my sister Anna. We created Fantasy Board Games LLC. Originally, we wanted a game for us to play. There's no other horse board game on the market for adults, so we created the Fantasy Stables Regular Edition for adults and teenagers to play and have something be social and interactive and involving. All the turns are played together. The fantasy is you start with both cash and horses and you make money showing. So if only real life was like that, but in a game it can be. And then it's realistic because you have real horses and different disciplines that you take to shows. You have advantages when you show a trail horse in a trail show, for example. Part of the fun though is sometimes you can take your racehorse and still win the trail show if you want to. It's you roll the dice and it's the show day roll. You might just get lucky. There's different purses and entry fees. They're all listed on the board. So some of the shows you might be winning $40,000 and have a lot on the line. Other shows might just be a bread and butter $1,600 cash in your pocket. And then everyone has a horse occupation. All the colors of the pawns represent different horse occupations. And all of the expense cards in the game are paid to the other players, keeping it interactive and entertaining for everyone. So there's no running off to make a sandwich. You'll definitely miss stuff while you're gone. And there's goofy little stories on the expense cards, who you're paying the money to and why. So that makes it a little bit more entertaining than just bet bill $200.
Things like threw a shoe, had to pay the farrier, or things like that, right?
Even better than that, our through a shoe one is Ruckus in the Show Barn, where all the horses are like just kicking the barn down. There's something got them riled up. Mark had to fix more than one loose shoe, so he could get a hefty payday.
So the price tag went up, correct?
We wanted to make sure Mark got paid for taking time out of his schedule. So Mark's our farrier, and that's actually our real life farrier.
The junior version.
The junior version is a fun spin-off of this game. It's really similar in that you still play all the turns together, and you take the horses to auctions and you buy them, competing against your friends. but it's a little easier. We wanted to make it simple enough that kids 8 and up could play independently, and we also can play with younger kids as well. Sometimes kids as young as 5 or 6 can play it pretty happily. So the entry fees are scaled down. $100 and you win 1,000, $500 you win 5,000. You can also match the symbols on the shows. So like this Western Performance show has a butterfly on it. Well, your Western Performance horses in the game have butterflies in all the corners, and then if they turn it over, there's a butterfly in the bottom. So that way, for kids that can't read as well yet, it's easier for them to match symbols than it is to
still match
read.
the things up,
Exactly.
correct.
So they can still have fun and play with their older siblings and be on an equal playing field. And instead of expense cards, we've got luck of the draw cards. Sometimes you'll get a free horse, like this one's really lucky. You've got an older friend going to college and you get the next horse in the stack for free. So that's one of the good ones. And then there's other ones too where you pay for grooming tools or transportation to shows. There is a little bit of realism in the expense cards, but we say the strategy of the junior game is don't spend all of your money on horses. But part of the fun is, you know, kids love to build just a giant stable. There's no horse chores and no annual expenses, so that's part of the fantasy for the kids is, you know, collecting as many color horses as they want to. Also, kids love making up personalities for their horses when they show them. They get lucky show horses. Rose here, we had a little girl playing earlier. She couldn't enter Rose into a show where she didn't roll a 6. So the kids usually, they enter shows matching the disciplines because they get an advantage. But if they get to choose any horse, they've got that one horse that always does well for them. And also something fun for the kids, if they want to, there's a quiz on the back of the horse cards. So if the kids want to quiz their horse knowledge, they can, but they don't have to. It's not part of the game. So that way they're on an even playing field with kids that are not into horses. And then in the rules, we've got a glossary. Of course, all the answers to the quiz are in there. We've also got a glossary explaining everything on the back of the cards, so that if kids want to read the glossary first and then test their knowledge, they can do that too. So they'll learn a little bit about horses while they play. This is Fantasy Stables Regular Edition for teenagers and adults. We created it for us to play. It's very competitive, interactive, social game. Perfect for a barn night or a family night. And then this is the Fantasy Stables Junior Edition. Any kid in your life that's even halfway interested in horses will love this game. They really get attached to the horses. They love collecting the horses. They love feeling like they own all these real life horses. So perfect for kids ages 8 and up.
Yeah, your shafts are going to be there and your traces are going to be parallel to that.
A lot of times when I plow, I take this piece off, and I just take these. When I'm plowing, I just take these off up here because I don't need a whole back strap on a plow. The plow's not going to run up underneath it. I just take that whole piece off of this particular piece of harness.
Per act, because they're the oldest and got the biggest legs, and they're a brand new everybody else. Make your own decision. I'm not trying to make you put the old microchip in. If you feel the newer one is where you want to go there. We're just trying to provide the education so that you can make an informed decision. Okay, the USCF, are they making people take the old ones out and put new ones in? Yeah, they're putting those in because of the fact. But if you're showing the USCF,
I don't want to walk in front of you.
now,
last time he had his hat done.
And seated right here answering questions is Charlie Davis, who was the real exercise writer for Secretariat. Charlie comes back every year for the Secretariat birthday celebration here at the Virginia Horse Festival.
Yeah, right. I ain't walking back. That's what you think. Me and Bo going right back. Ask her. I'm just trying to sell him.
Okay, this is a step-up stirrup. I invented it because I'm short and I ride a 17-hand horse.
Wow.
And I can't get on when I'm out in the field. If I'm out on the hunt field or if I'm out in the woods riding, a lot of times there's nowhere to get up and get on. So it drops down 6 inches. It's the equivalent of a hand and a half of a horse. So if you were riding a 16-hand horse, all of a sudden you've got a 14 two-hand horse to get on. So you put your foot in just like you would a regular stirrup and lift yourself up, and as soon as you're up, you pick up your stirrup leather with a stirrup, snap it shut, that's it. You're ready to go. Drop it down. Simple, easy. And I made this one to go with it so they match. You can buy it singularly. If you don't care that they don't match, may not match the shape of your other previous stirrups, but if you want to, we sell it as a pair.
Awesome.
And you can buy it at our website, which is www.stepupstirrup.com.
Very
It's obvious. Take the little baby ice. The first time, certainly the third time.
Hey, welcome to Speaking of Horses, and we're here in beautiful Doswell, Virginia. And we are at the Virginia Horse Festival. And right now I'm talking to Clint, what's your last name?
Arrington.
Clint Arrington. And he's with a project called Lonesome Dove Equestrian Center. I have a flyer here on it. But, you know, I've worked with this group a few years ago when this event was happening over at the Raceway. And it really inspired me what you're doing with the Lonesome Dove, and you do a lot of this with veterans, right?
Only veterans. We have a program designed exclusively for veterans, and these guys are anywhere from 18 to 96. Men, women, everything in between.
So tell us how you got started and exactly how you developed this Lonesome Dove project.
Starting at working with kids, of course, like many people do. And I saw that work for a young lady that had MS, and within a year she was riding by herself. So I thought if it worked for her, it would work for these veterans. In 2008, I started with 3 riders from the McGuire Hospital that now, since 2008, we have put on horseback 2,000 riders.
Wow. Wow. Well, I know a few years ago you had, I think, 3 veterans that went in the arena for a demonstration, which was really neat to watch.
Sure.
Now you're located exactly where?
We're at 6137 Old Buckingham Road in Powhatan, Virginia.
Now where is that from where we're at?
About an hour and a half south.
South. Okay, because we're about 20 miles north of Richmond here.
Right.
So you would be south of Richmond.
Right. Actually, we're west of Richmond.
West of Richmond, okay. Now, you've got a thing coming up here we want to talk about a bit. Said you're announcing a celebration May 11th from noon to 1. Tell us about this celebration.
Our celebration is because as of May 11th, we will have put on horseback 2,000 veterans with disabilities. That is like 2 battalions in an army. That's a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
And we hope to have some dignitaries coming from the governor's office, maybe congressmen and other dignitaries coming to see us.
Now, how do you get in contact with the veterans, or how do they get in contact with you about this program?
The veterans mainly come from McGuire Hospital or Sitter Barclay, which is a state facility. They have the therapist come with them and their doctor approved, and it takes a while to get to where they are. And some of these guys are 18, straight out of Afghanistan, Iraq, and it's a lot of damages that you can see. And there are several that have damages that you can't see, and they are more traumatic actually with PTSD.
Yeah, the mental things that you cannot see are much more of an issue with
That's harder to deal with. Medical, they can sew you up, put a Band-Aid on it and go. But PTSD is emotions inside that have been distorted, or something has gone awry, that they have demons, they have things that you can't see. And we help them overcome their fears, overcome their objections, and make the demons go away.
And I would think that part of that process gets a little tough because you don't really know sometimes what might trigger those demons back to the surface, right?
You have to be very careful. We had one boy that was coming along very well, and the horse turned and stepped on his foot, and he kind of melted down, and we didn't see him again.
It's Lonesome Dove Equestrian Center. It's quite a project, and from the first time I saw what you were doing a few years ago, I've been impressed with what you were doing, and I'm glad to see you here this year, and this is the time we get to talk to you on Speaking of Horses. So, Clint, I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and keep up the good work you're doing, because
I will.
Our veterans deserve the absolute best, and I feel like sometimes they get ignored more than they should. And
we don't want to get into politics.
I'm not getting into politics. I'm just saying that it takes people like you and your organization stepping up to fill these voids, and it's the American people helping you. Welcome to Speaking of Horses, and we are in the Old People's Riding Club booth. We are at the Virginia Horse Festival in Doswell, and very happy to be sitting here. Now, you're a national director, is that right?
I am. I'm the national vice president.
Right, and your name is?
My name is Sue Berry.
Sue Berry.
Yes, and I'm actually a member of a local chapter here in Virginia. Still hot to trot chapter, and we're based in King George, Virginia.
Well, obviously I fit into this category of Old People's Riding Club, but tell us how this all came about. Give us a history.
Well, in 1998, it was started in Maryland. A woman by the name of Hope Jacobs was taking her daughter back and forth to Pony Club and decided that she wanted to have fun with her friends too. So she got a group of adults together, and it just took off from there.
All right. So, and what age group are you basically looking at?
We have riders age 21 and up. We've got riders that are in their 20s. We've got riders in their 80s.
Okay, so the term Old People's Riding Club doesn't necessarily apply. If you got riders in their 20s, in my age bracket, I don't consider that old.
Right. It's kind of a fun thing.
It's a fun thing, but it was designed really to help keep older riders into a group of people in their age bracket to ride, correct, or am I wrong? All right. So name some of the things you do.
We do, if you can imagine it, we'll do it. We've got people that are from all disciplines. We have people who are doing the English equitation, jumping, hunter jumper, fox hunting. We've got folks on the western side of things doing barrel racing, pole bending, reining. We've got people driving, a little bit of everything.
Everything, okay. So now you have chapters all around the country. How many states are you in?
We do. We have 20 chapters in 11 states.
Okay.
And we're currently in the membership renewal process for this year. We are topping 500 members.
Okay.
And they average 27 members per chapter.
Okay. So do you have like an annual ride or a ride where you bring everybody together or what?
We do. We have a national rally that is a biennial event. So every other year we have the chapters host rallies. They can do it either by themselves in their individual chapter, or a lot of the chapters will get together and hold a combined event. All of the scores from those events are tallied nationally, and then we offer national winners.
Okay. All right. So how do people contact you?
People can contact us by checking out our website at www.oldpeoplesridingclub.org.
Okay.
Or we have a Facebook page. Most of the groups have their own Facebook pages, and we have websites for each individual chapter on the home website.
Right.
And we also have a membership forum on OPRC for members exclusively.
Okay. So basically, if you went to oldpeoplesridingclub.org,
yes,
then all the data on the chapters and everything is there.
Yes.
Right.
There's a segment on our history. There's segments on how to join, information on any of the ratings that we do. We require ratings for people just to make sure that they're safe riders.
Right.
We're all about safety, we're all about education, and we're all about people having fun while building relationships with their horses.
That's great, and I just like anything that, people keep going. It's like when you reach a certain age, you can keep going and keep riding or doing anything you're doing at a certain age, as long as you keep doing it. It gets tough if you quit and your body falls out of that pattern, and then you try to bring it back. That gets tougher, but just keep doing it, keep going, because the old saying, inside every older person is a younger person going, what happened? Okay. It's what happened to my body, because the mind is still like 20 years old, and it is with me. But a 20-year-old doesn't have aches and pains and a stiff knee when they get up and all that. So, you just keep doing it, and keep doing it as long as you can, because that's how you stay young.
Right, and one of our big goals is to get people back in the saddle and haven't been there for a while. Our chapter focuses a lot on building confidence with people that have either been out of the riding arena for a while, or whether they've had bad accidents and they're just afraid to get back into it.
Right.
So we've got several people that work through this.
And that's what it's all about.
It certainly is.
Hey, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
And it's fun. Old People's Riding Club. You got to get involved. Check them out at oldpeoplesridingclub.org, and we're glad to have you here
Thank you so much.
with us in Virginia on Speaking of Horses.
Awesome.
Hey, speaking of horses, we're here at the Virginia Horse Festival. Tracy Meisenbach, correct?
Yes.
Is my guest. And a couple of things that Tracy's been doing here. Number one, she's been doing some bitting clinics, correct?
Yes, I do a bit clinic, and I also have a booth here with our stark naked bits.
Stark naked bits? I guess I missed the name of that. Okay, we'll get into that. We'll delve into this later. But also, you are involved, and I think a year or so ago had some of the Sugar Bush draft horses here.
Yes, I'm the executive director of the American Sugar Bush Harlequin Draft Association. The Sugar Bush Harlequin Draft is one of 2 American draft breeds that has ever been created, and we are bringing the breed back from the brink of extinction. It was down to 12 horses, just a couple of years ago, and now we're up to over 100 horses, and the breed is growing in popularity, and we're really, really, really pleased with the response we've got from the public supporting our resurrection of this breed, and they've got quite an interesting history.
Well, we're going to delve into this a little bit because I think the history was interesting. I remember announcing the breed demos with your draft horses in the arena and reading your script, I think a couple of different places maybe over the last year or two.
Yeah, we've been up to Briarfest. We've been over to the Virginia Horse Expo that was at the Old Dominion thing. We were at the Virginia State Fair draft show here last fall, for the last 2 years in September.
Well, I know where I've seen you. I've seen you obviously here, and I also am the announcer of Briarfest here. So I have done
You've
that.
seen us for a long time.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
You've been Briarfest is exactly where it is every July.
Yeah.
I see you in Briarfest.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting breed, and I've read your script enough to. It takes me a while, for things to soak in, but I've read your script enough that it's really intriguing. And so give us the history, if you would, of the Sugarbush draft.
Well, the breed started really in two places that were kind of thinking of the same idea at the same time. Back in the 70s, Michael Hanna, who has since changed his name to Michael Muir in respect for his grandfather's heritage, was an Appaloosa breeder, and he bought an Appaloosa race stallion named Apache Double. And Apache Double was bred by George Hatley, who was the executive director of the APHC for 31 years.
Okay.
And he's only sire of $2 million in progeny, winning progeny. So for an Appaloosa racehorse, he was quite high end. He's in the Appaloosa Hall of Fame. And then Mike decided to rescue a draft stallion. There was a Percheron draft stallion at a sale. His name was Charlie Dagus. He was in terrible condition. So Mike brought him home and just rehabbed him, turned him into this amazing looking horse, and decided to start crossing this horse on his daughters from Apache Double, which at the time was kind of out of the loop with Appaloosas because they were trying so hard to get rid of the image of the draft history where the cavalry had introduced draft breeds into the Nez Perce herds and tried to turn them into plow horses. And so while the Appaloosa industry was going in one direction, Michael Muir turned around and went in the opposite direction. And during this time, he also found out that he had MS. So he was not able to ride and compete anymore. So he wanted to develop a high-end driving horse that was a warm blood type. So he took his Apache Double daughters, which the Appaloosa breeders would have killed for, and he crossed them on Charlie Dagus, and he created these warm bloods, these leopard-spotted warm bloods. And he continued breeding these horses. He actually created a hitch that had 3 sisters in it, Stonewall Stella, Stonewall Blanche, and Stonewall Scarlet. And to bring awareness of MS, he drove them from California to Florida, and 3,000 miles in an open carriage. And it was covered in Western Horseman and I believe Horse Illustrated.
Well, that's it from the Virginia Horse Festival. Join us next time on Speaking of Horses.